you want to just forward me.
If there's questions, you can answer.
Yep.
We'll forward that to you.
Yeah, oh, we had a good time last night, so. We went to Highland House in Niagara. Just grabbed some beers and chips and salsa and dinner beforehand. So,
What? No.
Concordia?
Do we have-
My brother-in-law went there, so.
The people on the line, do we?
Many games at Chinook Stadium, so. What is she studying?
Interior architecture.
Nice.
They're on. Okay. Alrighty. Call the Public Works meeting to order. We'll start out with the roll call. Alderperson Ackley? Yeah, is she on there? Is she on? Or is Betty on? She's on? Okay, is she answering? Alderperson Phillips? No. Now we can. There we go. Okay, try this again. Okay. Alderperson Ackley? Alderperson Phillips? Alderperson Savaglio? Okay, and Alderperson Sorensen? Okay, okay. We'll start out with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Alrighty, we'll start out with a quick introduction. We guess we have two gentlemen here that we're unfamiliar with. If you want to maybe just start out with their introductions for so everybody online knows who we have all here. Okay. Ryan, we'll just quick let everybody know who's on. Okay.
David Beeble, Public Works.
Wolf, City Administrator.
Matt Jaskowiak, Enterprise.
Adam Weber, Enterprise.
Okay. Okay. Alrighty. Start out with 2.1, approval of minutes from February 9th, 2021. Motion made by Ryan, seconded by Betty. Any other discussion on those minutes? All those in favor? Any opposed? Chair votes aye. The minutes are approved. Alrighty, 3.1, RL 145, 2021, document 3.9, report of officer submitting an analysis of the motor vehicle division of the Department of Public Works non-commercial driver's license vehicles, non-CDL light duty by Enterprise Fleet Management. The analysis describes the current state of the fleet and its limitations, provides alternatives to shorten the life cycle and maximize the equity at the time of resale. In addition, the program will improve operating and capital financials. Todd, I guess he's starting off with this?
Thank you, Chair. Committee, I just wanted to reach out to you guys as David and I are, proud to present a great opportunity for the city. As you know, during the State of the City that I presented to the council, I had 4 areas that the city has failed in my opinion. Number 4 was roads. Number 3 is facilities, number 2 is fleet, and number 1 is obviously our largest asset, our employees. This proposal that you're going to have from Enterprise Fleet Management is prepared for the city of Sheboygan. It is something that is used throughout the state of Wisconsin, but also across the country. It's something that I'm familiar with, and it's going to be a solution, a great recommendation. It's been vetted by our department heads and Public Works. Rick Nye has gone through it with a fine-tooth comb. It's going to allow us to help manage our operating expenses better when it comes to our light duty. So anything smaller than a 1 ton, not our garbage trucks, not our ambulances. It can include police squads. But what's going to happen is the 2 gentlemen, Matt and Adam, are going to give you an overview presentation that's going to explain the benefits. And we're hoping to get your support to take this and move it forward. So David, did you want to expand on that?
Real briefly. Yeah, as Administrator Wolf has mentioned, this is a great opportunity for the department as well as the city overall in terms of financially as well as operationally. One thing you'll find in the presentation is this portion of our fleet is very aged, and this is an opportunity that and I would say not only is it aged, but it's not really a high priority in terms of replacement within our fleet and our cycle in terms of capital financing that we currently have. Right now, we currently finance $250,000 out of our debt service to finance vehicles. We want to get out of that. We want to make sure we're sustainable and we're able to finance this on a yearly operational budget as it's intended. So I think you'll be very pleased to hear this presentation. As Administrator Wolf has mentioned, we're not first to the game in this. Many communities already in the state of Wisconsin have utilized this to their advantage, and I think it's a great presentation. We as a department are really excited and glad to work with Administrator Wolf in presenting this evening.
Thank you, Todd and David. Appreciate the opportunity again. So I'll just introduce myself and Enterprise a little bit, and then we'll go through the presentation that we have today. So again, my name is Matt Jaskowiak. I'm an account executive for Enterprise in our fleet management division. Same company as you may recognize in the past from renting cars, Enterprise Rent-A-Car. We are privately held by the Taylor family out of St. Louis. Adam and I and my team here in Wisconsin are headquartered just in the Waukesha area, so we're very local and face-to-face. But our fleet management division specializes in working with government and non-government agencies that have 20 or more vehicles in their fleet. So City of Sheboygan certainly qualifies for what we're looking for as far as the fleet size goes. We do work with we work with PD vehicles, so ERV as well. It's just kind of a phase 2 scope. So the phase 1 is talking non-ERV vehicles and non-CDL units. So anything that does not require a CDL license to operate or 26,000 pounds or smaller. So up to a class 7 vehicle. So kind of highlighting and starting out with what you see on the screen here is we want to start with the current situation. So when we reached out to the city, we want to identify what's the current state, what's the heartbeat of the city with their fleet. And what we found is the fleet consists of roughly 60 vehicles that are non-CDL units, ranging from sedans to medium-duty style pickup trucks, so like 1-ton style dump body vehicles. 64% of that fleet is currently 10 years or older. 12.3 years is the average age of that fleet. 20 years is the current cycle that it would take the city to cycle through all roughly 60 of those vehicles based on the current historic acquisition trends. Out of those 60 vehicles, there's 18 different vehicle types. So a lot of different variances in vehicles, a handful of vehicles per car class. What you're going to see through the process of this is we're going to consolidate those vehicle types down to maybe 3 to 5 different vehicle types, which just allows for easier communication, uniformity, and better workflow. The objective when I reached out to City Administrator Wolf was to identify a fleet solution that could not only financially bring benefit to your taxpayers, but operationally bring a different look and feel and flow for your staff. And then administratively, how do we support your staff? And in doing so, we're going to operate a fleet program that's going to move your current 20-year cycle to a 3-year cycle, capturing the government buying power that you already have access to and Enterprise's selling power. We're a world-class organization that operates 2 million vehicles today on the road, and we buy about 1 million cars a year and sell about 1 million cars per year. And what we're doing is we're taking those economies of scale and utilizing them with our fleet clients that are government and non-government agencies. In doing so, we're going to operate a healthier fleet of vehicles that will minimize maintenance costs roughly 64%. We're also going to improve fuel economy roughly 20% just by having healthier vehicles on the road, and not to mention the carbon footprint improvement just by having newer technology in operation. The additional benefits, Adam Weber is here with me today. He's your dedicated account manager. He has a staff and people behind him that support him from day-to-day tasks, customer service related items. But Adam's the face of Enterprise with the City of Sheboygan moving forward as far as a dedicated account rep. So his team's going to sit with your decision makers and analyze and consult and recommend operational decisions based on current state, remarketing efforts as far as what our vehicles are worth today versus tomorrow, tracking analytics like maintenance costs and fuel data and miles per gallon to really just help the city make better and more cost-effective decisions. So when taking all that information, the current situation and the opportunity of what we're looking for with government agencies, the major financial findings are what we found. So we found anywhere between $800 and about $1 million in savings over the next 10 years in doing so. And again, the number to keep in mind is we're moving from a 20-year-old fleet to a 3-year-old fleet. I think that's the most impactful, some of the most impactful numbers to keep in the back of our minds. So about a savings of anywhere between $800 to $1 million over the next 10 years. The variance is just depending on vehicle selection, and we can get more details later down the road with that, but it just depends on vehicle type. That number includes the following. It includes selling off the vehicle, the city's current fleet today, the current 59 assets, selling leased vehicles throughout the period of those 10 years, throughout the life of those vehicles, the maintenance savings and fuel savings combined. What you're going to see is a sustainable savings of between $40,000 and $60,000 from years 6 through 10. So there's savings from year 1, but a sustainable savings, we look at it only from years 6 through 10 when the fleet's fully implemented. We have many years under our belt, so we're looking for the sustainable side of things. That's the most impactful number to me, is it's a sustainable savings for the city to operate healthier and safer vehicles. Over the 10 years, the city's going to see a hard dollar savings out of that large number above, about $380,000 in savings in just maintenance, not including downtime or administrative time. Also going to see roughly about $100,000 in fuel savings just by having newer vehicle technology. The supporting evidence, what you're going to see throughout the presentation and the documents you have, is just a fleet profile breakdown of what the current city fleet makeup is of today. So when you read it left to right like a book, you're going to have your fleet profile, the replacement strategy that we're recommending, which is the most cost-effective route, and the number of vehicles and the age and the supporting evidence that we just illustrated. Below here, you're going to see the model year analysis, which will just show the buying trends of the city and how we get to the numbers and on how we get to them. So when we take that data and information, we're going to plug it into our analysis here. Oh, this is just a fleet list that illustrates the current vehicles that we're talking about by department. We also have the current odometer and the sight unseen value numbers Enterprise placed on these assets, which equates to just over $500,000 in value. This is the cash flow that we built. This is something that we use countrywide. We have over 1,500 government clients that are active customers today. We have over I think it's now 14,000 fleet management customers that do this, whether they're government or non-government. So this cash flow is a well-recognized model that we use in the government sector. If we read it top to bottom, left to right like a book, it'll tell the story without me explaining it. I'll highlight a few things. So starting at the very top left of the screen, you're going to see the current situation. So the current fleet of 59 vehicles, the average cycle is roughly 20 years old. The average monthly maintenance spend is $84 a month per vehicle, which equates to about 25 cents a mile. The annual miles is roughly 4 to some thousand miles per year per vehicle. So the proposal is going to show the same amount of vehicles at 59. We're proposing the cycle roughly about 3 years old and a fixed maintenance cost per month of $30 a month per vehicle. And we can get more into the details on the maintenance side if we need to. What you're going to see in the meat and potatoes of the analysis, that orange highlighted line is an average cost the city's spending today annually with acquiring vehicles, fixing vehicles, and filling up vehicles with fuel. So that $220,403 number is the number that we're using as a baseline for all of our numbers right below from years 2021 through 2030. When you add up lease payments, the amount of equity coming back, the equity owned in parentheses, that's the assets you currently have today that we're going to offload for you. And again, the city retains ownership benefits of those vehicles, so they keep those assets back at hand. We're going to also sell off enterprise vehicles throughout the respected years based on vehicle type and terms that are associated with each vehicle class. We can get, again, more details if we have to. But when you look at the total spend of what our program is over the next 10 years in the fleet budget column, and we compare our cost versus your $220,403 established average budget, we have a net cash savings on the far right column that illustrates the mathematical difference in our plan versus what the current plan is, just simply by doing math. So if we took the first year, the credit of $211,000 and subtract that or added that into the $220,000 the city currently spends today, we come up with a $430,000 net cash savings. Same way with the $192,078 in year 2022. Compare that difference to $220,000, we have a net cash difference of $28,325. When you comprise that over 10 years, we have a savings of roughly $800,000 on this example, with a sustainable savings of $40,000 annually with respected years 6 through 10 and beyond. The other thing to note too is the city is roughly spending $113,000 per year on average, some years more, some years less, in just acquiring vehicles. What we're doing is we're shifting the fleet from a 20-year cycle to a 3-year cycle. And if you see that green number right in the middle of the page, that $81,772, if you were to add up the positive and negative numbers that you see in the total capital outlay in the middle of the screen, that green highlighted box, that's the average annual capital budget spend the city would see with money going out and money coming back from buying and selling vehicles through our program. So to consider that we're moving from a 20-year-old fleet to a 3-year-old fleet, that we can sustainably show on average over the next 10 years, the city would spend $82,000 in capital dollars compared to the $113,000 the city spends today just on 3 vehicles on average. It just shows that this program obviously is sustainable and is a cost-effective metric. Moving down, this is a menu pricing that just illustrates, gotta go a little slower. That illustrates the vehicle types that we're talking about, the capitalized price with the vehicle, the monthly payment associated with that vehicle, the amount of upfit cost that's capped into those vehicles if there's any assumptions there. Just shows the cash flow in and out of what and how we got where our numbers essentially came from. This is a 10-year fixed capital budget, so if you read it again left to right like a book, this does not include maintenance or fuel savings. This is just money out from acquiring or leasing vehicles and money coming back from selling off current assets and enterprise assets. When you look at it, the city has the ability to practice an internal financing practice on their own, so they would practice this internally. You guys would basically develop an equity reserve fund for the city. So basically build a reserve of equity dollars that come back to the city to apply for future lease payments. So if you add up A plus B equals C, how do we get to a fixed budget where it doesn't go up but doesn't go down? And it's sustainable. So the $125,000 number allows the city to spend not a penny more but not a penny less and have a reserve at the end of the 10th year of $433,000, still yet to roll into the next year and years beyond. So again, the way to read this is look at your lease payments of $458,000. The equity gain, the total equity number is the next column I would look at. So how much equity do we have built up? And then how much do I need to apply to the lease cost to get to a fixed budget, and that's the way the analysis will show. This is not something enterprise can practice from government auditing practices. They like to see the money on your books and you deal with it internally. So this would just be a practice you guys would either adopt or just assume that it works based on A plus B equals C method. So what you're gonna see below here is just related documents and information as far as from clients, references, supporting material. The city of Wausau is a client of ours, been with us for 5+ years now, have done multiple rounds of vehicles. Early on, we were doing longer cycles, like around 5-year lifetime cycles. We're transitioning them and others to shorter life cycles as we're proposing today. So what you're gonna see in the first 4 years of just working with Enterprise, the city of Wausau has saved almost $500,000 in total in just the first 4 years. We've also, what's interesting to see is we've improved their fuel economy over 4 years by 35%. The part that the city also gets to take advantage of is Adam Weber, our account management team, what we're doing and how we're sitting down with and consulting our clients, bringing analytics and recommendations and real life situations and metrics to make recommendations in the fleet world. So knowing when to buy, when to sell, when not to buy, maybe when not to sell as well. Taking the analytics of maintenance costs and fuel economy and how does that paint a picture for the city to replace or not replace vehicles? The city also has full access to our technology platform. Enterprise has spent, north of $300 million in just technology for our clients that allows you guys to be mobile and make decisions and see the information that we see at any click of a button for your city staff. We have the ability to cost code vehicles by department, so we can simply track everything by department, by vehicle number. It's simply customizable as much as you can imagine. We also have some references and enterprise clients listed here. Not every client that we work with in the government sector is listed here. I just threw out, probably 15 different ones we do work with, along with some dedicated account information for references that are willing to take phone calls as far as a reference goes as well. So with that, I will yield back and answer any questions, concerns anyone may have as well.
Okay. But okay. I will concur with Ryan's statement. I think that this is an awesome program. I think this is, I can see the cost savings right away on this, and I think that the ability to have, like I said, the newer vehicles, be able to just keep up with the times and be able to have is the right track for us to go. So, anyone else have comments? Okay,
Chair.
Hold on one second. Todd's got a few statements he wants to say.
Chair, I'd just like to make a couple of just quick points before the committee makes a final decision. Just to reiterate, this is obviously a team effort. So obviously this is a great program. We're hoping for support for this, but this is really the first step with the support. Once you guys, assuming that you approve it and you agree with it, this will obviously go to council, then the council will get to review it and approve it, and that approval will basically allow us to take the contract and go through our attorney's office and have them review it and beat up Matt and Adam and come up with a better program for us. But then from there, it'll come back to council, and then we'll be able to actually get this implemented as a great project for the city. But I did want to make a couple of real quick points now that you've seen the presentation. Again, this is a team effort, not just from me, but it's DPW, Rick Nye, the whole team. They vetted it. They really put this through the ringer. But please remember that our present purchasing has typically been geo-bonding as far as borrowing money for vehicles. So if you remember on one of our past geo bondings, we purchased, I believe it was 2 squad cars, and that was around $34,000 each. So that means that we put our capital improvements projects, we included vehicle purchases with a 10-year note. So that means we amortized or borrowed money for 10 years to pay for a vehicle that's not going to last 10 years. So that, to me, that doesn't make sense. So moving forward, this is going to be great. Maintenance team, I know this came up last night, but please understand that we're not looking to reduce our maintenance team at DPW. DPW actually had to take on additional duties and resources because the fire department actually, several years ago, when their maintenance person retired, the fire department actually put that need on DPW. So DPW had to take on additional assets. I also wanted to point out that these 60-ish light-duty vehicles haven't had the ability to have the maintenance taken care of as regular because we don't have the resources. And again, this is resource management. It's making sure that we are doing our due diligence and taking care of our assets. And that, again, goes back to the 4 points that I made earlier. So again, this is going to allow DPW and the maintenance team to reprioritize and really focus on our larger, more costly assets like our fire trucks, our salters, our dual axle equipment, our garbage trucks that we just purchased, our snow plows this time of the year, and it's able to help us with that. Warranties, again, new assets are going to be safer, they're going to be under warranty, so we're looking at minimal maintenance costs because it's just oil changes, right, and tire rotations. Again, safety of the vehicles. You guys probably know this better than anyone because you oversee DPW, is the fact that we've had some accidents because of our old assets. I mean, how many vehicles nowadays don't have a backup camera? So we're spending money to put backup cameras on city equipment so that when they're backing up, we don't hit citizens. Like that's never happened. So this is good stewardship of our assets versus 20-year-old assets. So if you think about that, just think of the representation that the city of Sheboygan is going to have when vehicles are nice and new and shiny compared to 20 years old and needing maintenance. So I just wanted to point that out. And again, thank you for your support. Thank you.
I guess I just have one, so where exactly would the maintenance be? Are these going to be brought back and forth from a different location? Is there maintenance in town that you guys have, or how does that all?
Yeah, I can speak on that unless you would like. So yeah, the maintenance program is a very custom program to the city. So the ideal way this would work is we'd work with local vendors that the service for these light duty vehicles would be serviced at. Not only can they do service work for oil changes and tire rotations, but also warranty work would be done there as well. And then what City Administrator Wolf said is the downtime or the uptick in productivity happens for your mechanics internally because they're not focused on the servicing of those vehicles, and it's very minimal to begin with. So we have the ability to focus the city on a fixed cost budget program, so they don't have to worry about maintenance, the ebbs and flows of that cost. And Enterprise handles the entire billing and payment behind the scenes with those vendors you choose to go to. So it takes you out of that industry completely in a sense, other than just scheduling the service and getting it completed. So that would be the most productivity side of things. From a productivity side of things, that would be the most efficient way to do it. And then there's also a secondary program that you could do in-house that would still track things as well.
I guess one other question, this is kind of getting, way down the line, but this is something, what about like if in the near future we start getting into electric vehicles and things like that? Is that something that you're going to be into also? I mean, that's just, just a quick.
Yeah, absolutely. Great question. And it comes up very frequent. So yes, we would be, if not knocking on your door to discuss, the carbon foot improvements, the electric vehicles, gas versus hybrid versus diesel opportunities. That's what Adam and his team do every single day with their clients. They're constantly looking at different ways to be creative, innovative, and find different solutions to drive cost savings, but improve safety and everything else that comes in between. So we would definitely be, the consultants that would work with you guys to strategize on, do we go option A, B, or C, or D, and does it make financial sense to commit, invest, or implement?
Oh, thank you. That I think is a huge, because to be able to turn around and be able to do that in our current way, we'd be looking at 20 years from now, and we'd be the only gas vehicles maybe on the road. I'm not saying it for sure, but it may be that way. Yeah. So, alrighty. Anyone else have? Ryan? Okay. Motion's been made by Ryan for approval. Do I hear a second? Second by Betty. Any other discussion on this? All those in favor? I also say aye, so motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Alrighty, we'll move on. 3.2, Resolution 169-2021, Document 4.6, Resolution authorizing the appropriate city officials to execute a professional services agreement with MSA Professional Services Incorporated for planning and engineering services necessary to replace the generator and electrical panels at the Municipal Service Building. Mike?
Good evening, committee members. Tonight, we are seeking your approval to execute a professional service agreement with MSA Professional Services for the planning and engineering necessary to replace the generator and electrical panels at the Municipal Service Building. This is a budget line item for capital improvements for 2021. We did come under budget for this engineering, for the engineering services through MSA. Just a real quick background analysis on this. The project entails replacing our original 55-year-old generator and updating electrical panels at the Municipal Service Building that was constructed in 1966. Currently, the generator, which has been properly maintained for 55 years, is scheduled to be replaced due to its age and lack of spare parts that are available today. The electrical panels, which are also original to the building, have no replacement parts. These two systems are critical components for the operation of this facility. Scheduling progressive updates to critical equipment and components will increase the working lifetime of this building. Kind of expanding on what the city administrator said, this is one of our critical points for maintaining our facilities, which is a huge asset to the city of Sheboygan. If there's any questions that pertains to this, this is kind of a multi-year program starting in 2021 with the engineering services, replacing the generator, and possibly looking at doing the panels kind of ending in early 2022. So if there's any questions pertaining to this, I would love to answer them.
So this is gonna be like a two-phase type of thing? The generator will be replaced first, and then the panels later, or is this?
It's gonna combine into one. After talking with Dave Schultze from MSA, which is engineer that actually did the electrical engineering for this building.
Okay,
It's gonna kind of mold into one, because you can't really do one without the other.
that's what I was thinking.
It's a large program, but it's overall it's gonna turn out well. We're figuring by the end of January 2022, we should get this project completed. So
So is the new generator gonna then be outside of the building then?
yes.
Okay.
Currently, the generator right now is inside. It's a
Yes.
diesel. It will
Yes.
go to a natural gas. It will be external on the west side of the building. Your disconnects, everything will be, the main CT cabinet and everything will be on the external of the building on the west side, hidden from public view, if you want to say, as passerbyers on New
Sure.
Jersey Avenue. The transformer, Alliance transformer, will end up getting moved a little bit because it is, when it was placed back then, it was illegally placed, by codes nowadays, and the extension of this program with the electrical panels also includes some updating of emergency equipment for egress lighting and stuff, so.
Okay. Anyone else have questions for Mike? Motion made by Ryan. Do we have a second? Second by Betty. Any other discussion? All those in favor? Any opposed? Chair votes aye.
That is approved.
Thank you.
Mike. 3.3, Resolution 170, 2021, Document 4.7, Resolution authorizing the appropriate city officials to enter into a contract for the construction of the 2021 sidewalk program. Ryan?
Yeah, the Department of Public Works every year goes out to bid for the replacement of the sidewalks throughout the city of Sheboygan.
Okay.
Every year, we always budget $100,000 into capital improvements. Several weeks ago, we went out to bid, and our low bidder came in, Forward Contracting, at $81,000. It's within budget. Like I said, it's our standard program, so
Okay.
it's something we've been doing annually for many, many years.
Okay.
So, if you have any questions on it?
Nothing. Move. Motion's been made by Ryan, seconded by Betty. Any other discussion? All those in favor? Any opposed? Chair votes aye, and that is approved.
Right, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, 3.4, Resolution 174, 2021, Document 7.2, Resolution authorizing the appropriate city officials to enter into a design engineering services agreement with ACOM Technical Services Incorporated to finalize the engineering and provide construction services for influent building HVAC project at the wastewater treatment plant. Director.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Again, this is a design contract for professional engineering services with AECOM. They've done other professional engineering at our wastewater treatment plant. This is particularly with the HVAC system, heating, ventilating, air conditioning system in the influent building. The current HVAC system in this building is original to the design in construction back in very early 80s, 82, 81. And it's severely corroded. It's a very caustic and environment, as you can imagine, with raw wastewater and the gases and such that this environment is in. So it really needs to be properly designed. And this is in our capital improvements at the wastewater treatment plant in the budget. So again, this is for the design services for approximately $18,900, which will then lead to a construction contract and ultimately replacing the system later this year. And we'll come back to the committee. The whole project is in with the wastewater capital improvements project for this year. So we would look for your approval for this document.
Okay. Motion's been made by Ryan, seconded by Betty. Any other discussion? All those in favor? Any opposed? Chair votes aye. That is approved. Alrighty, 3.5, General Ordinance number 36, 2021, Document 6.5, Ordinance creating a 15-minute parking zone on the north side of Niagara Avenue between North 14th Street and North Commerce Street. Ryan?
Yeah, in 2020, the Department of Public Works reconstructed Niagara Avenue, a little section between Bitter Newman and the new LTC building.
Okay.
And as part of that design, LTC requested like a little drop-off zone, more or less for like Federal Express to stop by, or UPS, or the mail delivery, to have to pull off to the side of the road in this drop-off bay, and also for pedestrian drop-offs. What's happening is people are parking there long-term, so we just need to regulate this to a 15-minute parking zone, this one parking spot.
Makes
So
sense. Makes sense to me. Okay,
that's it.
okay. Motion's made by Ryan, seconded by Betty. Any other discussion? Oh, second by Rose, I'm sorry. Okay. Okay. Any other discussion? Alrighty, all those in favor? Any opposed? Chair votes aye. That is approved. General Ordinance 37, 2021, Document 6.6, Ordinance placing stop signs at the northwest corner and southeast corner of North 9th Street and Niagara Avenue.
The intersection of Niagara and North 9th Street is currently it's a two-way stop for all, east and westbound traffic. And Trinity Early Childhood Center, is requesting a four-way stop due to, they've had a facility for several years, and I guess in the last couple of years, their student population is increased significantly. And they have a lot of student trips going just to the downtown areas, to the Green, going over to the Mead Library, and also to their facility at 9th in Wisconsin. They have the extension of their school over there. So they've requested just for pedestrian movement for a four-way stop to go from a two-way to a four-way.
Okay, okay. And also with also the Tower Academy right over there too also adds to that, so. I
Yeah,
would
right,
imagine it's-
exactly.
So,
And that's also another point that Trinity made was that.
yeah, I can see
And
that.
it's for young students, so
Yeah.
it's a safety issue.
I can see that. Motion's made by Ryan, seconded by Betty this time. Any other discussion? All those in favor? Any opposed? Chair votes aye, and that is approved.
All right, thank you.
Alrighty. Next meeting date is March 9th, 2021. Since seeing we have exhausted the agenda, is there a motion to adjourn? Alrighty. Any other discussion on that? All those in favor? Any opposed? Chair votes aye. We are adjourned. Thank you.